Hey,
Hello, my name is Selena.
and my name's Theoni, and you are listening to Piping Hot.
Welcome back to another episode. So happy that you guys are here, and I hope everyone is doing fantastic.
I hope so too. I feel like I see that every week, and it's still true. But I feel like I really sound the same every week when I say that.
We are genuine, okay? Please.
We are.
Yeah,
we do want you to be doing well.
Exactly.
We really do. Yeah.
Exactly.
And according to, there's this new like Spotify statistic thing on our like platform that we use to like distribute our podcast, and we have more than 3 listeners officially, like a good amount more than 3 listeners.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
this is exciting.
We've grown from just 3 listeners to 10. No, I'm kidding. Really making strides out here, you guys.
No,
really.
literally. I can't wait for us to blow up. I keep telling you, I can't wait for our Netflix special. Like, it's on the way. It's on the way. Oh my Lord.
Oh my gosh.
Oh Lord. How has your week been?
It's been good. It's been a long, kind of wonky week. I don't know why. I woke up thinking that it was Thursday today, and it's Wednesday. We're recording this on Wednesday when we usually record on Thursday. So I woke up and I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm so close to the weekend. And I'm like, no, you are not. You're literally dead in the middle of the week. Like, good luck.
Like you have a lot longer to go than you thought you did.
Yeah. And I think it was just, I told you this, but I went into the office yesterday and we were in the studio recording radio. So like that was kind of long. I mean, it all went fine, but like just recording stuff, anytime you're in the studio, it just like is like a really long haul, like a really big long haul to like sit there and like listen, but it went fine, and I think that's what's like messing me up. So anyways.
Dang. No, I feel like, well, because you usually work from home, so then going into the office, and on top of going into the office you're doing like something different than usual. I feel like it just kind of throws your week off. So
yeah, I did get free lunch though, so
wow.
which
What
I will
free
tell you
lunch,
about
though?
in consuming in our section of
Wow. Okay.
You have to wait.
Big cliffhanger, you guys.
Yeah,
Jesus.
the anticipation's gonna kill you.
Yeah, literally.
I had more than chicken nuggets, you guys. Okay,
That's really exciting, honestly.
really.
It really is. Oh my goodness.
How are you doing?
You know, not great,
Yeah.
honestly. And
It's been a week. It's been a
no,
week.
It has been a week, and I'm not going to talk about it too much on the podcast because it's still very fresh.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm trying to just like give myself time to heal after everything that happened. And I don't know if any of you guys relate to this, but I was telling Selena, like, my natural inclination is to not give myself time or to just kind of push through and shove everything down because I feel like I have a responsibility to others or a responsibility to do other things. And so I think on the positive side of things that have happened this week, like, I've proved to myself that I've grown in the sense that like I can ask for the things that I actually need or like whatever. And also whenever like hard things like this happen, like I try to remember to be grateful for the people I have in my life. Like everyone that I've been able to talk to about it has been really supportive and just kind. And so I try to just remind myself that obviously like hard things are a part of life. And so you know, you just be thankful for the people you have around you to help you through it. And multiple people have said to me this year, like, 2023 is your year and blah, blah, blah. And I'm just waiting for it to be my year because honestly, like, a lot of bad things have happened. So, like, I'm just waiting for it to turn around.
Yeah. We're like 3 months in. Like, when is it going to happen? Like,
no,
I'm waiting.
Literally, when is it going to be my year? Because right now it just feels sad. So I'm just ready for it to take a turn.
Yeah.
But, you know, the lows make the highs even higher. So just trying to be positive about it. And also, I think this caffeine is making me talk really fast. So sorry. I had a cup of coffee today and I took a really long nap. And then I woke up and I felt so groggy that now I'm drinking a Celsius. I
Are you like through the roof?
Like through the roof. Like I think I honestly need to like stop myself because it tastes like juice. Yeah. But I'm not realizing that I'm just adding caffeine to the craziness. So
yeah, you're just like chugging it down.
Just chill. So yeah. So spoiler alert, that's what I'm drinking today. What are you drinking today since we're on it? Yeah.
Yeah, I am drinking, actually I was going to drink oolong tea, but then I looked at the box and it has a lot of caffeine. And I was actually really tired early this afternoon, so I was like, "Oh, I'm going to drink oolong." But then I kind of like woke up into the evening and I was like, "Oh wait, I do not want oolong because I'm never going to go to sleep." Yeah. So I am drinking lemon ginger tea with some probiotics. So
wow, look at you. That's so healthy.
It's actually really good.
Nice.
So
delish.
I was gonna say, aren't you like almost a month out from seeing the love of your life, Joshua Bassett?
Oh no, I'm seeing him on Saturday.
It's this Saturday?
It's this Saturday.
Already?
Yeah.
No, I thought why
no,
did I think
it's
it was
a Saturday,
April?
March 25th, Greek Independence Day. I'm celebrating the best way I know how. I'm so excited.
Oh my gosh, because you sent me a Snapchat of you like freaking out because you're looking at all of the Snapchats or TikToks of his performances and it looks really good.
I'm like literally like you don't understand, especially after this week. Like it's just gonna hit so hard. Like I literally am so excited. Like and in all the videos he's been interacting with the crowd so much and like I swear to God, if he looks at me, if he talks to me, like I will freak out. I will.
You'll just combust.
No, I will. Straight up. I will not survive that.
Are you going to be like waiting outside the venue to get like front row?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, good.
I already told my friends that I'm going with. I was like, we can go grab drinks before, whatever, but I'm getting there like an hour and a half before the doors open. You guys can stay and have drinks or do what you want to do, but I'm going to be in line.
Oh my God.
I'm going to get front row.
I would go like 3 hours before.
You think?
Yeah, because that's how freaking crazy I am. Because I want front row and I need to guarantee it, so I need to like buffer like even more time.
I know. I'm wondering what's like a good amount because I really want front row, but I also don't want to stand in the cold. So it's like, what do I do?
I mean, what would you risk for Joshua Bassett to make
my
eye
life
contact with you? Yeah,
just kidding.
There you go. There you go.
And maybe that could be the start of our rom-com novel. Like I'm waiting outside the venue and I get so cold that I get hypothermia that his team has to bring me into the venue to like save me, and then he's like, "Oh my God, are you okay?" And then we fell in love.
Yeah, and then he takes you to the green room and he's like, "Sit here, I have snacks." And
literally. You can oh my God. Me and my Delulus, like, they're crazy. Like,
I love it.
God.
I'm here for it.
Thank you.
Here for it.
So I'll keep you posted.
You have to send me videos, okay?
I will. I'm literally gonna my dream is for him to get my phone and I'm gonna FaceTime you so then he can like talk to you.
I would throw.
I know you would.
I would literally
I know
throw.
You would. Oh, that's my dream. God. So I'm gonna try to make it happen.
Okay. Well,
you canceled on me and my friends, so you owe us this. That's what I'm gonna say.
Oh, okay. So then he'll like take pity and he'll take your phone. Okay, I like that plan. I like that. I don't have any plans Saturday night, so I'll just be waiting around.
Just waiting for the call, yeah.
For a FaceTime call from Joshua Bassett.
Oh my God, I would literally die. Like actually.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited. I'm so excited for you.
I'm really excited.
Amazing.
Yeah. But any other big life updates for you?
Just a couple. I feel like, again, going back to like this week, it's been so freaking wonky. And maybe it's just that like I have like way too many plans and I hate it. I absolutely fucking hate it. And I think it's also because of the sunlight too, because we get more sunlight now, which is freaking fantastic. But I think it's making me want to be like an introvert, but I'm like, no, Selena, you are not an introvert. You need to stop making plans. And I'm like, I'm just annoyed. Because it's like, Jack has noticed too that I've been like in and out of the house and I like feel like I haven't talked to him. I haven't hung out with him. And I'm like, oh my God, do we like live together at this point? Like, I feel like I haven't seen you. So it's just been wild. I mean, it's all been like good things, but it's just been crazy. So
Well, yeah, I think even if they're good things, it can still feel exhausting, especially for someone who's an introvert. It's just like you're not getting any time for yourself, or with like your husband who like helps you chill out. So it's like just it gets exhausting.
Yeah. It's kind of wonky, but that's okay. That's okay. And then a couple of other writing updates because there's no other section for this. So writing updates, I finished my revision number 5 on my young adult fantasy.
You're crazy.
Yes. I know. I'm crazy. I'm really well aware of it. So I am taking a step back on that, which is nice. And I am actually starting to outline and plan my adult fantasy. And so
Are you freaking for real?
I am so excited, Theoni. I have been like dying to talk to you about it because I feel like I know where I want to go, but I'm like, oh, maybe I should like ask Theoni because like you have all the good ideas. Like every time I talk to you, I'm like, oh, you're right. I'm gonna write that down. Or like whatever.
Yes, please ask for me for
So I'm really excited. I'm trying to develop the characters right now because I don't know like what I know like what the problem is or like what the plot is, but it's like I don't know the characters or how they would react if I place them in the plot. So that's what I'm trying to figure out right now. It's so funny because the love interest who I've told you about, who's like his theme song that I've decided is Heartless by The Weeknd, he right? He's like so angry in my head. And I'm like, why are you so angry? Like, what made you so angry? And so it's been really fun to like really dig into him and be like, why are you so angry? Like, what is wrong with you?
Why are you so angry, Asian Henry Cavill? I'm telling you, as soon as you told me that, I literally, sorry, spoiler alert, you can cut that out if you didn't want me to say that,
no,
but I
fine.
really just haven't been able to stop thinking about that since you said that.
You're so funny. I've been like thinking about commissioning art for my young adult fantasy. And I would, I'd give them and be like, oh, it's just like an Asian Henry Cavill. Like, that's all that he looks like.
I can't. I really. Yeah. I'm like so excited. You really should commission art though. That would be so good.
Yeah. Maybe I'll do it when I get like a literary agent or something to like celebrate, you know?
Yeah.
But yeah, no, so that's been going well. Like focusing on a different project rather than being like heads down in my young adult fantasy. So it's nice just to like shift different worlds, different plot, different characters. So
nice. Yeah, I don't really have anything else either. I have been writing a little more. I think I'm almost through chapter 19 now, which is exciting. So we're making progress.
Very nice.
I think I just need to like sit and do it. I mean, honestly, these past 2 days, I really could have used it to write more, but my motivation was so low, like because of everything that happened. I was just sleeping, but I did write a little bit today, so I've been trying to challenge myself to at least write a little every day.
Yeah.
I'm getting really excited, and I feel really good about it because I feel like even on top of your feedback, I feel like as I'm writing, I'm finding little moments to add things in. And so like I really feel like the themes in it are like emerging more. So it's really exciting.
Shut up. That's amazing. No, literally, that's like the best feeling ever.
Yeah. Like I wrote this little paragraph the other day and I was like, oh my God. Like I was just so proud of myself. I was like, that's really good.
Oh my God.
That was a really good feeling.
Oh my gosh, I love it so much.
Thank you.
Amazing. I'm like so excited.
You're just
what is wrong with that?
I don't know. You being so excited. I think I'm too on edge because now I'm getting emotional. Oh my God. Well, thank you for always supporting me and being excited for me. I can't wait for you to read it again whenever that point gets to, but And also, not to be creep, but I creeped on your Goodreads and joined some of those beta groups that you were in. So I'm gonna, once I get a little farther into my revision and like I'm almost done, I'm gonna post about it and see if I can like connect with somebody.
Yes, amazing. Yeah, because that's literally how I found my friend Haley.
Yeah.
There's like one group that's like better than the other, or it's like more active, and that's like where I found more of my beta readers. But I'll have to double check like which group it is. But yeah, no, that's how I found people to read my book.
That's so cool. Yeah. So I'm very excited for that, and it feels like things are going in a good direction. At least that. So that's another positive. Yeah. Despite everything going on. So yay.
Good. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. Look at us go.
I know. Look at us go. Dang.
Yeah. Moving on. What are you reading, watching, listening, consuming?
Okay. So reading, obviously, what we're going to be talking about today.
Yes.
I haven't really read anything outside of that, but I am going to be starting Maybe Someday by Colleen Hoover this week. So that'll be my next thing that I'm starting.
Very nice.
Which I'm excited about. I've heard it's like a little bit of a different side of romance for her. It's a little different, and there's like a sequel to it as well. So I'm excited to read them. And see kind of what I think. Yeah. There is some cheating in it. I guess that's like part of the plot. And I always have very mixed feelings about like cheating tropes and like just cheating in books. I don't know. So we'll see. We'll see.
Okay, you'll have to tell me, because I know that cheating is kind of like a big like hands off for you.
It is. It really is. So we'll see. We'll see. But what are you reading?
What am I reading? So I finished Unravel the Dusk by Elizabeth Lim. It was nice to just like kind of close out that duology and be done with it. It was fine. The ending was fine. It was kind of like anticlimactic. There was a plot hole that then they were like, oh, actually, it's not a plot hole because I can do this. And I was like, I don't know what you're doing, but okay. But what all that matters is that they end up together at the end of the book, and they live happily ever after.
Love that. Love that. I need a good happily ever after.
Yes, and because like the whole point of this duology was that like they live two different lives, and like their duties prevent them from being together. And so at the end of the book, they find a way to be together, and I'm like, that's all that matters. Okay,
that's all that matters. Yeah. Yeah, because I know you were kind of struggling to get through that one, so it's good that at least it left you feeling good, you know?
Yeah, and also too, I just like really like her writing style. So it's like, even though the plot wasn't like at the caliber that like I would have preferred, I still enjoyed it because I just love her writing style. So that was really nice. Yeah. And then I just started an adult fantasy book called Jade City by Fonda Lee. And I've heard so many good things about it. It's a trilogy. So I think I'm debating if I want to just like knock it all out, like all three, or finish the first, go to a different book, then go to the second, read a different book, and then go to the third. Just because the books are literally like 600 pages each. And I'm like, that's a lot, you know, that's a lot of fantasy.
Like, it is. But I wonder if like as you're reading the first book, you'll be able to make that decision, because if you become like so invested in it that you just need to know what happens, you're not going to need a break because you're going to want to just keep reading. So
you're so right, because I've heard that the third book in this trilogy is insane, and I want to like be in the hype, you know what I mean? Like I want to be there with everyone. So maybe my FOMO will just like make me
keep
read all the books. Yeah. But yeah, that is what I'm reading.
Very nice. Okay, what are you watching?
I am watching season 2 of Shadow and Bone. So I am about halfway through. I think it's 10 episodes on Netflix. And I'm about halfway through. I've been slowly going through it just because I don't really want to binge it, but I also kind of want to like catch up because I've seen way too many spoilers, and I'm getting like really annoyed because I'm like, I just need to watch this faster to avoid all the spoilers. I did want to say, I am nervous watching this show for the ACOTAR series. Because you can freaking tell where the budget went to in this season and where it didn't. Like
that's
they had
so annoying.
Yes, they had this gorgeous boat scene where they're basically out on sea and stuff. And you can tell, like, it's an actual boat. I think they're actually somewhere filming this in a lake, a sea, something like that. And it looks really pretty. And then there's a whole nother part where there's like, they're in this city that's kind of like a slum or whatever. Mm-hmm. And you can 100% tell it's a green screen. And it bugs the shit out of me. And unfortunately, the makeup sucks. Like, the main villain has like these scars on his face and it looks so bad. I'm like, who is your makeup artist? Like, who is like the person who runs all of the makeup stuff? Because it looks so incredibly bad. And so I'm watching this and I'm like, oh my gosh. I'm at a point where it's like, I almost wish I didn't see this because it almost kind of ruins the book for me. No. Just because of how badly executed it is. So now I'm getting really nervous.
Well, that's so frustrating because especially I think with that show, it's not even like it's consistently bad or consistently good. It's like all over the place, which I think pulls you in and out of it. Yep. And like, at least if it was consistently one thing, you'd be able to adjust to that. But when it's so back and forth, like you said, it makes it so obvious when it's good or so obvious when it's bad. Yeah. That just pulls you out of it.
I know. It's like either be like all cheap and do it really badly or go full out and do it really, really well. Like don't do this like back and forth thing because I can tell. I can tell your budget like ran out, you know.
Literally. Oh gosh.
So, I mean, regardless, I still really enjoy it because the characters are like my absolutely favorite, but it just like makes me nervous for Avatar. So
every time I think about it, I get nauseous. So I just need to not think about it until it's a reality because I literally have no control over it. So
same. What are you watching?
I am watching How I Met Your Father on Hulu.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna be honest. I really don't like this season. There's certain parts where it's just so cheesy and the writing is just not funny, so I don't know. I'm kind of just watching it to have something to watch because I don't really have anything else that I want to start right now. It is what it is, so I don't know. It's like just an easy watch, kind of nice to have on when I'm busy doing other things or whatever. So
how many seasons are there for that?
It's on the second one. The second one came out somewhat recently.
It's already on the second season? Wow.
Yeah.
What are you listening to?
Okay, you're going to be so disappointed with one of the songs I've been listening to.
What? Okay.
Okay, so I discovered this Chris Brown song, okay? It's called Problem With You.
Okay.
And it's from his Indigo album. I don't know what it is. I do not know what it is about this song, but I love it. I think it's so catchy. The lyrics are so in your face inappropriate, but I literally love it. So I've been listening to that.
Okay.
I've also been listening to Eat Your Young by Hozier because that came out and I can't stop listening to it. I think it's so good. Also, honestly, all of his songs on his little EP, I think there's only 3. Yeah. But I've been really enjoying them, actually.
Yeah.
And then Sabrina Carpenter also came out with her like Emails I Can't Send Forward. So like the deluxe version of her Emails I Can't Send album with like 5 or 4 new songs.
Have I been sleeping under a rock? Why didn't I hear this?
Yeah, you are. No, I'm just joking. No, but like the songs are good. By far the best one is Feather. It is so catchy. It is such a vibe. You gotta listen to it. It's so good, Selena.
What the heck? Where have I been? Why didn't I hear this?
I don't know. I saw it on TikTok. So, and like I follow her on Instagram, so I saw it there too. But
I'm like distraught. Like, how did I miss this? Like, what the heck?
Don't worry, you can catch up.
Okay, got it.
Yeah. And then I've also, God, this song is so bad, but I can't stop listening. Nasty by Russ.
Oh yeah. Yeah,
it's such a bad song.
It is such a horrible song, but it's like...
But I cannot stop listening. Yeah. For some reason, it's so freaking catchy, and it's not good, but I can't stop listening. And then there's certain parts that are literally based off of, like, book talk, and I can't.
I know. Like, it's like almost he read, like, a romance book, and he's like, oh, I'm just going to put that in there in this song.
No, that's exactly what it is.
I'm
grab
like,
the headboard, hold on tight.
I'm like, sir, what?
That was literally, he even posted on his TikTok. Like,
went
this is
viral.
based off of Nessie. I'm like, what?
Yeah, he went viral with Book Talk with that.
Crazy.
I thought that was funny,
doing.
though.
It was so funny. Like, honestly, what a power move. So that's what I've been listening to. What have you been listening to?
Very nice.
Yeah.
I have been listening to Rare by Selena Gomez. Still really vibing with that album.
All right.
And then I'm also listening to Hozier's EP as well. Just the 3 songs that he has. They're so good.
They are.
They're so good. I'm like, I guess I didn't really like know what to expect because I'm not like a huge fan of him, but like if he has music out, then I'll just like listen to it. But like these 3 songs, I'm like, damn, I could just go for a whole album. Like,
no, seriously. And I think the cool thing about them, at least for me, is they all feel very like epic. Like the production, like the vocals in the background. Like I'm a sucker for like a gospel-y type choir vibe. And that's especially in the one song, Something Through the Flood or whatever it's called. Like it sounds so epic and I really like it.
Yeah, Through Me. Through Me, and then in parentheses, the flood. No, I agree. Like they feel so different, but they're so cohesive on that EP, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
Like, it's so good.
It's
what the heck? Okay, yeah, but that's basically all that I'm listening to.
Nice. Okay, so tell me what this free lunch you got is. What are you consuming? I've been dying to know.
I had a Tex-Mex chicken salad yesterday from Red Cow.
Wow.
And it was so good. Like, I am tempted to, like, recreate it because it was so good.
Wow. What was in it?
There was like rice, chicken, beans, salsa, and it was like an avocado ranch dressing. And it was like so good. I was like shooketh.
Wow. See, the thing is like I never recreate those things at home because it almost feels like too many ingredients to have in my fridge for one person, and I can like never eat through them fast enough. But like I love getting a good fancy salad when I go out because they always just have such good ingredients and they're so hearty.
Yeah, it is so good. It's so good. Anyways, what about you? What are you consuming?
Still my freaking vegan chicken nuggets.
Nice.
And I did buy bagels, so I've been eating bagels with this oat milk butter I have. So that's exciting. I don't know. No, but like honestly, sometimes I really do forget how good bagels are until I have a bagel and I'm like, oh wow, I really like bagels.
I know, I should get back on the bagel kick. I was also thinking about like there are like these like rice like patty thingies that you can put on
rice
for like
cakes?
breakfast. Yeah, that too. I was like thinking, I was like, what does
rice patty?
I was like, it's shaped like a patty, but what is it fucking called? But I've been on like healthy TikTok side, whatever, where they like show you like what I eat in a day and stuff. And they're like, oh yeah, I start with like rice cakes and I put peanut butter on it and a banana and the lot. I'm like, I should just do that. Like, I don't know why I don't do that.
Yeah. And like, I feel like sometimes they don't fill me up as much as I would want them to. But the thing is like, I don't really like eating a lot for breakfast anyway, just because I don't really feel super hungry right away in the morning when I actually have time to eat breakfast. And so I think something like that is nice just to get something in your stomach, like to kind of kickstart your metabolism, but it also is very light.
Yes, I know, and it's not too heavy because I feel like sometimes, don't get me wrong, I love an omelet and I love bacon and stuff, but that stuff is so heavy.
It is.
And I can't have that every day.
No, no, you can't. You can't.
Yeah. Pop culture. Okay, so I only have 4.
I have 4 too.
What is up with us
We
these
just
past
did the
couple
same
months?
motion. Did you see that we both went?
I did.
I don't know. That's crazy.
Yeah, because we had the same amount last week and I
did.
think the week before as well. Wow.
I
Look at us.
We're like this.
We're amazing.
We are. Okay, I'll let you go first.
Okay, first one that I have to talk about is that the Taylor Swift Eras Tour has begun.
Yep.
And it literally looks so amazing. And even though my seats are in the nosebleeds, I am so happy I got tickets because it looks so good.
You're going to have such a good time. It does look so good. And I was talking to one of my friends about this. That was my first pop culture thing too. I think the one sad part is that there's only one song each from her Speak Now and her debut album. And I was like, why did she do that? But it's literally because Scooter still owns. And I think she wants to like limit the money that she's giving to them. At least that was like my friend's perspective. So
yes, because I think now, literally just a couple days ago, she can now officially re-record Speak Now. Like it's still in the process of all of her rights coming back to her and being able to re-record. So like I definitely understand that. It makes me sad though, because I literally love her debut and Speak Now. Like Speak Now is so good. Like it kills me. It literally kills me.
No, it's so good.
Also, I'm really excited for her to hear songs on Evermore and Folklore.
Yeah.
Because she released those in quarantine, so she's like never performed them. And so I'm really, really excited for her to actually get that stage time, and also for those albums to get their time as well, because it was so quick, like back to back.
Absolutely. So it does, even though I'm not like the biggest Taylor Swift fan, I mean, the tour does look brilliant. And like, it is cool to see like just how long she's been in the industry now, and like everything she's built and all the songs it's really is crazy.
I know. I'm so excited. I'm like trying to avoid any performances on TikTok. Yeah. Because I don't want to like spoil myself, but like the concert's like in June. Like I have such a long way to go. Like I'm going to see something.
Yeah. This was really happy news for me. Tyra Banks is leaving Dance with the Stars as a host and has been replaced by Julianne Hough. So Julianne Hough and Alfonso Ribeiro will be co-hosting, which I think is going to be so good. I'm so happy to see Julianne Hough back in the ballroom, and I think she'll be such a good host. Yeah. Tyra Banks, I'm sorry, like go off, but you can't host to save your life. Like she constantly made mistakes. She made it very like about herself kind of, and like, no, I'm sorry. I hated her in that role, and I'm just so happy she's gone.
Honestly, like, I don't think she's a good host in general, because she did America's Got Talent as well. And I'm like, literally, I think it was only for like a season or something. Yeah. I'm like, girl, the only reason why you could host America's Got Model or whatever is because you were a fucking model.
Are you talking about America's Got Talent or America's Next Top Model?
Okay, see, I'm mixing them up because I'm a fake fan, remember? She did! I should,
like, what did you just say?
I should compile all of my fake fan moments. Yes. It could literally make up a whole episode. Yeah. Okay, no, she did host America's Got Talent.
Okay.
For like one season, I think. Okay. And then America's Next Top Model. Yeah. The only reason why she could host is because she was a model. She knows what she's talking about. And it was her show to run. So like she had all of the creative control. But I agree. I'm like, I just feel like Dancing with the Stars was just like not her forte. And I feel like Julianne Hough, because she is a dancer, will add so much value.
No, she will, because she's also been a dancer on the show. She's literally won the show multiple times. Yes. She's been a host on the show, or a judge on the show. Sorry. So like, I think she'll be perfect. Yeah. And I think her and Alfonso will be really fun together too. So
my next pop culture item is that Demi Lovato is releasing a rock version of Heart Attack on March 24th.
I did see that. I think it'll be so good, and I'm so excited to hear it. Yes. I will say, okay, it makes me almost, it's like bittersweet because I'm excited to hear it. Yeah. But it also just like, why are you recording old songs like this? I don't know. Like, yeah. It just feels like a little weird. Trying to like find her clout again almost. Yeah. Yeah. But I am excited to hear it.
It is a little weird. I think I can see it with Heart Attack though. That's the thing. Yeah. Where it's like Heart Attack is so on the line of like rock and pop that I can definitely see her release a rock version. So that works. But if it was like anything else, I'd be like, that's a little weird. Like, yeah. But I'm excited. I'm excited. Yeah.
Yeah. My next pop culture thing, I just have to mention this. Bad Bunny was on Carpool Karaoke with James Corden. Yes. And I just thought it was so funny and so good.
Yeah.
I did not know I like Benito so much, but I did. Like, I really do think I have a thing for like Latin artists sometimes.
I know. It's your type, Theoni.
Something about it just does something to me. And like the way he was singing Ariana Grande and was literally talking about it and then literally had to stop to sing the beat drop was so relatable. Because who amongst us has not done that when like they have to just like get everyone to shut up to hear like the best part of the song.
Yes, exactly. So. Yeah. No, I saw little clips of it and it looked really good.
It was so fun to watch. Yeah.
My next pop culture item is that La Roche, who is Zendaya's stylist, is retiring. And I'm really sad.
I'm sad too because I mean Zendaya literally kills it every single time. Like I don't even understand.
Like was it what was the most recent one that she was at? And her dress was like so amazing. It was like gold and black. What event was it? It was some sort of, it wasn't the SAG Awards, was it?
Girl, I don't know.
I don't know, but her dress looked amazing. And I'm like so sad because they've worked together for so long.
Yeah. Oh, it is sad. But I'm hoping that, I mean, Zendaya's a fashion queen. So like she will be just fine. But it is sad. My last pop culture thing that I have is Brenda Song and Macaulay Culkin welcomed their second baby very quietly.
Yes.
But I am very excited for them. I still think it's absolutely whack that they're together and like have children. Like it just like still is such a interesting crossover, but I'm very happy for them.
Same. Sometimes I forget that they're together. And like whenever they do pop up in headlines, I'm like, oh yeah, like they are together. Like I totally forgot, but I'm very happy for them. And then my last pop culture item is that the trailer for XO Kitty on Netflix dropped today, which is the spin-off for To All the Boys I've Loved Before, focusing on Kitty.
Oh, interesting. Yes. I didn't know that was a thing.
I know. Yeah, no, it was like announced a really, really long time ago. And I forgot it was a thing. And so they just dropped the trailer today out of nowhere. And I'm really excited. It's not a movie like the To All the Boys I've Loved Before. It's a TV show. It's a limited series, I think, and it's going to be 10 episodes. And I'm really excited because I do really like Kitty, and I feel like she is a lot younger than like what Laura Jean was in the movies, right?
Laura Jean.
Yeah. What did I say?
Laura Jean.
Oh, Laura. It's Lara.
Yeah.
Because she was a junior to senior, right? Is that right? I don't know.
Honestly, I those movies were not my favorite. I know that's an unpopular opinion, but
I like the first one. The first one has my heart. Yeah. All the time. But 2 and 3, I don't care. I don't care about 2 and 3.
Noah Centineo just got mega
he got to
for me. I don't know.
Yeah, a big ick. But the first movie, it's still like contained, amazing, like so good, so good.
Is that all your pop culture stuff?
Yes.
Alrighty. Well, why don't you tell the listeners what we are talking about today? I, for one, am very excited.
Yes. So today, Theoni and I will be discussing November 9 by Colleen Hoover, which was actually our March book club read that we've been doing in 2023. So we decided that we wanted to chat about this book on the podcast.
So if you haven't read it, read it and then come back and listen. Yes. I'm really excited to talk about it. I overall did really like it, but there were definitely some things I was like, what you doing there? You know?
Like, excuse you?
Yeah. All right. So we're going to go by each November. So I think Selena did the first one. So
we should talk about the premise.
Oh, yes. Okay. The premise.
You go.
Oh, boy.
You got this.
Explaining things. So basically, November 9 is about this man.
Okay, I will explain. Okay. It's about
this
man.
I didn't read the book.
Like what? Oh my gosh. Okay. Oh. Okay, November 9 by Colleen Hoover is basically about Fallon and Ben, which are our two main characters.
One of them is a man.
Yes, one of them.
So. I wasn't that far off.
Good job.
Thank you.
And basically November 9 is significant and is the title of the book because for 5 years, these two characters meet on November 9th every single year. And so as a reader, we get to see each of their meetings every year and see how things change throughout the 5 years that this book takes place.
That was beautiful.
Thank you.
I can't wait to hear you explain the 1st November.
Okay. Here is the 1st November, which I think they're both 18. So that's where it starts. So here's my synopsis. The 1st November opens with Fallon having lunch with her dad, who has conveniently forgotten that it's the 2nd anniversary of the fire that nearly killed her. Ben swoops in to save Fallon. They get to know each other on this first day before Fallon has to leave for New York that night. They agree to meet up on every November 9th for the next 5 years before she leaves. It was interesting when I was like writing my notes and doing this that like it's crazy to like go back and see how their like conversation has changed in the context of the ending, if that makes sense.
No, exactly. I had a hard time doing the notes and like I was trying to remember how I reacted when I first read it because now knowing the end of the book, it changes everything.
Yes. So literally at the bottom of page 29, he says, or they have a conversation and basically Fallon is like, because they're strangers, Fallon is like, so you're a decent human being? You've never killed anyone? And he says, so far. And I'm like, oh, whoa, that is interesting. That is interesting. I forgot they had that conversation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So then after this conversation, Ben basically comes over to help Fallon pack. And then he like asks her out to dinner before she leaves for New York on her flight or whatever. Which is really forward. And also, again, now that I know the context of the ending, it feels a little icky to me in the context. Because a part of me almost feels like in that moment, that 1st November, it was like he was trying to make it up to her. Or at least like ease his guilty conscience or something. Whereas I feel like it was played off as like, oh, he's into her, right? And she's beautiful. It's not her scars that like make her beautiful, blah, blah, all that stupid shit that he said. But I don't know. I was just like, this is really interesting going back now knowing what is revealed at the end.
Okay, I got something to say.
Because
Ben has a very pure heart, okay? He's young. A lot of shit happened, okay?
Okay, yes.
I think it wasn't like him trying to ease his guilty conscience. Like, knowing the ending now, I think it's more like him being confused. Like, yes, maybe part of it, like, wanted to make her happy, like make it up to her, but also feeling really confused because he has this connection with someone that he really shouldn't. And so like battling himself of like, I want to make her feel better, but also like I have this connection with her and I actually really like her, but I shouldn't feel that way. So what am I supposed to do? You know?
I guess. Agree to disagree. Because I feel like at the end of the book, we basically get the explanation kind of along the lines of like, he wanted the meaning of November 9th to be different than what he knew it for the 2 days, which I understand is why he went into the deal with Fallon of being like, let's make November 9th our special day so that they can change the meaning of that very, very significant day for both of them. But again, and then it goes back to the point of like, okay, well, if he's doing that, is he just trying to like ease his guilty conscience? Is he trying to make up for something? Like, it just feels really weird. It feels really roundabout.
He likes her.
Okay,
and he has a pure heart.
Okay, I don't think it's as pure as Atlas, though. That's the thing.
No, oh my God,
See?
no one can compare.
Like,
no, but like he still is pure. Like I think he's pure intentioned.
Pure intentions, like 70 to 80% of the time.
Okay, but here's the thing. Can you imagine being like 18 and like dealing with all this stuff? Like he was probably so confused. Sorry, I love Ben, so I will defend him.
Okay,
but
I like Ben. I don't love him, which means that I'll point out his flaws.
Well, I will point out his flaws as well. I mean, they but I think maybe because I like him more than you, I think I like to believe that his intentions were a little more pure.
Yeah.
Than like, but I do understand where you're coming from, because it did come off of it like that. I guess it just depends like how you choose to look at it. And I feel like that happens a lot in the book, where like almost if you look at things too hard, you kind of get the ick, or you're like, oh, that's too convenient or whatever. So like for me, in order to enjoy the book, I feel like I just had to take things with a grain of salt a little bit, you know?
No, that makes sense. As they're like quote unquote packing, which I literally think they did not pack, but they're talking about going on this date, right? And then there's this weird fucking scene where he undresses her. Theoni, literally, this was another ick for me because I can't. That was a lot. You literally met, we're not even like 20, 30 pages in, and he is like taking her clothes off. And I understand it's not supposed to be in a sexual way, and it was literally very clearly stated that it's not in a sexual way, but it was so weird. You don't know this person, and you are letting them undress you in this way. Like, a part of me like understands that it was a device to like emphasize that like she's more than her scars, and then his whole speech of like, oh, I notice your ass first before your scars, all that stupid shit that he said. And so I was like, this is so weird. Just really weird.
It was mad weird. Like, I think there a lot of times in this book, there was way too much relying on the fact that they were supposed to have insta love, or like this insta connection, which obviously they very explicitly state, but it felt like too much too soon. But I also understand, they even explain this later on in the book, where it's like each year they have a very limited time. So you have to progress the plot fast. So like to some degree I understand based on the premise of the book, but it's also like, you literally met this person hours ago.
Yes, and that was like another thing too that I was rationalizing, because I was like, oh yes, okay, I have to remember that this is like 1 November every year where they only get to see each other for like, I don't know, maybe 12 hours if they're lucky. So a part of me when I was reading this, I was like, okay, yes, this is fast, but I understand with the premise and the context that I was like fine with it. I was like, okay, I'll just roll with it. And then the first November ends with Ben dropping off Fallon at the airport, and he does this really cute thing when Fallon is waiting in line for TSA. This was not an ick for me. I actually really loved this. It like runs to her in slow motion, because they are like playing upon the fact of like, oh, if this was a rom-com, you would run into the airport and beg me not to leave. And so he does that, and he does it in like slow motion, and he's like, Fallon, don't go. And it was literally the cutest fucking thing that I could have died. I could have literally died.
Cute.
It was adorable. Like, that was cute. That was really
so cute. Yeah, that moment just made me really happy.
Yes, it did. Yeah. That's the first November. Do you have like any other notes or thoughts that you want to talk about?
I don't think so. I mean, I think a lot with this book, I will say my summaries are a lot more detailed than yours, I think. So, but yeah, I think, no, I don't have a lot to say, because especially always I feel like with the first chapters or the first November in this case, like it's a lot of just setting up. So then now we have like the base. Now it's more like, okay, now what are you going to do with like the groundwork you laid?
Yes, exactly. Yep.
Here is the 2nd November. In the 2nd November, Fallon runs late for their meeting because of a delayed flight, but eventually they finally see each other at Ben's apartment. They check in to see what of their homework they've been able to complete, and it quickly becomes steamy when Ben helps Fallon realize that the men she's with should thank them for the privilege and be thankful for the scars because they're a reminder she's alive. Just as Fallon starts to get into the moment, finally allowing someone to see everything, Jordan busts into the room. Jordan is his brother's Kyle's fiance. Then, shortly after, Ben's brother Kyle comes home, and Fallon isn't sure why, but he is incredibly angry with Ben, enough so to punch him. Somehow, they end up at a tattoo parlor where Ben gets a tattoo with an unknown meaning to Fallon, but she just knows it's important. Just as they're about to say their goodbyes after, Ben surprises Fallon on the plane, realizing he forgot to give her homework for the year, which is to call her father. I know you're laughing because of that tattoo scene.
I'm sorry. I'm really trying to hold it. Keep going.
No, that's it.
I'm sorry. I forgot that was a thing.
No, I know.
Sorry. Okay.
I know.
Okay.
We will get to the tattoo scene. I promise.
We will.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It's okay. Okay, I know this is like mega cheesy, but I did like that this November started with Ben reflecting on the different book kisses that he read about, because Fallon basically gave him 5 romance books to read, and he ended up reading like 25 over the course of the year. And he was like, I want to give Fallon kisses worthy of what's in the books and blah, blah, blah. I thought that was really cute. Like, especially anticipating their first meeting. They don't know what it's going to be like because this is the first time they're meeting up.
Yeah.
You know, and so I just thought that was a cute way to start.
It also, like, does such a good job of, like, showing the type of person that Ben is. That, like, he really, truly does take this relationship, as weird as it is, he takes it really seriously, and it shows that he really puts effort in it. And so I agree that, like, I really, really loved him in that essence of, like, he really, really wanted to make this work with Fallon.
Okay, one theme that came up pretty quickly at the beginning of this chapter that kind of carried throughout the book in little ways that I didn't like was this whole alpha male thing. Like how, like he should act like an alpha male because it's in the books, but then he would try to act like an alpha male, but he's not, and blah, blah, blah. And I just didn't personally love that because, like, you know me, I love a sweet character. I love a guy who's just, like, kind and thoughtful and whatever. And to me, that's who Ben was. So then this whole thing where he's constantly trying to act like alpha even though he's not, or like Fallon having this internal dialogue of like, oh, he's more alpha than he thinks he is. I was like, no, like that's not it just was like, it felt unnecessary.
It felt almost disjointed because we were literally just talking about how he showed effort and he like read all of these books because he really cares about Fallon, but also then getting the other side of it of being like, oh, he's an alpha male and he's tough and blah, blah. And I'm like, I don't necessarily need that. No. Like, especially with the way that like Ben is as a character, I was like, oh, I'm fine with him just being like really sweet and caring and considerate and all that stuff. Like, don't get me wrong, I love an alpha male, but it's like when they're an alpha male, they're 100% alpha male. Like they're an asshole. Like that is what it is.
Exactly. And like kind of like you were comparing this earlier, like with Atlas, like Atlas is just a sweet, kind character. He's so who he is, right? Yeah. But he still has those sides to him that are really protective of Lily. And I feel
because
like
he's dealing with fucking Ryle.
I know.
I would be that way too.
I know, exactly. But that's what I mean. It's just like, to me, in comparing, like Ben is more of a sweet character, similar to Atlas in like the sweetness way. So like you don't need to be that character too.
I agree. Yep.
Yeah. So here's just a little bit of dialogue.
Okay.
Did you write anything this year? He nods. I did. Did you kiss anyone this year? I nod. I did. Did you? He shrugs. Did you, Ben? He nods. A few. I try not to let that affect me, but exactly how many constitutes a few? And did you compare them all to me? He shakes his head. I told you last year that's completely unfair to the rest of the female population. You're incomparable. I'm so glad I came today. I don't care if I don't sleep for a week. It would be worth it just to have that compliment. And I just thought that was really cute. Like, I don't know, as a words of affirmation girly, I was so it was so relatable because like coming from Ben, it didn't feel like a compliment he just throws out there either. Like he really meant it. And so I just thought that was really cute.
Yes. Again, going back to the whole disjointed alpha male thing, like I don't need it. Like that was like great that Ben said that. That was like, so sweet. Like that's all that I needed. Like
exactly. And my next note like goes into the alpha male thing again because on page 97 it says, I like that he seems a little upset, like he doesn't actually want to hear about me making out with someone else. I especially like how he seems a little protective of me. I think Ben has more alpha in him than he gives himself credit for. Like you can be protective but still be the sweet guy without it being like an alpha side. It's just like I don't know. So again, just felt unnecessary.
Like they aren't exclusive. Like that condition is not exclusive. Like you don't need to be an alpha male in order to be protective. You can be protective without being an alpha male. Like it just it feels like they were one and the same in that sense. And I was like, I don't think so. I don't think Ben is that way.
No, literally. And then just a random note, just pages like 98 and 99, he's doing a lot of dialogue about making Fallon's injuries part of like the story that he's writing and stuff, and just like encouraging her to like open up about things. And open up about her experience with other guys who were like turned off by her scars and things. And like, I just really like seeing that side of Ben because number one, it felt very true to his character. And number two, I related to Fallon in that moment, thinking of like what I want for myself in a relationship is like someone who pushes you to open up when you don't know how yourself, because it's like someone knows that that would be good for you and you know it would be good for you, but it's another thing to actually put that into action. So like the fact that he was willing to like push her when everyone else was almost like too fragile around her, I think was like really cool to see.
Yes. And I will say I really did like that aspect of their relationship. And I think Fallon comments on it multiple times too throughout the book of like, oh, we haven't talked for a year, but the second we're in the room together, it's like everything goes back to normal. And like I can be real with him and he can be real with me. And I just really like that because I feel like with everyone else in their lives, I feel like they're both adhering to what people want of them, but then when they're together it's like, oh, it's just us together. There's like no expectations.
Yes, exactly. And I think that's so important that it was set up so well early on in the book because that becomes so important later on. This is just a really cute quote again, just to me very much exemplifying like what their relationship does for Fallon. Yeah. It says, I feel him laughing, so I lie back down on the pillow and allow him to wipe more tears away. He's looking down at me like I'm a beautiful mess, and I'm not going to allow myself to question that because I am. I'm a beautiful fucking mess, and he's lucky to be on top of me right now. Like, it's just like, I don't know. I just thought it's so cheesy. This book honestly is really cheesy compared to some of her other books. So like, I just thought that was really sweet. Like, I like that we see like these little parts of her like gaining her confidence and like stopping her thoughts of like being negative. Page 102, I really related to this. He said, sorry, this is a little spicy, but I have to read it to get the context of the thing. Okay. It says, baby, he says, sliding his lips across my chest. Relax, okay? I could try, but now I'm tense because he called me baby and not because he's about to go where no one has gone before. I've always found that term of endearment to be a little grating, but it so works when he says it. Honestly, I be relating to Fallon a lot in this chapter because you know me, I hate those terms of endearment. Like I hate those nicknames. You do. But when done in the right context, it does something to you. And like when it works, it really works.
Honestly, when Ben said baby, I wanted to throw up. Like I'm so sorry. Like we already know this, okay? I can get into as much dirty talk as possible, okay? Right? Yeah. But for some reason, the dirty talk in this was not doing it for me. Whenever he was like... Interesting. I just like could not get... I don't know why I couldn't get into it. Like, it was just like, ugh, like such an ick for me, especially the whole baby thing. Now, I think I really, truly have a hate for the nickname baby now. Like, I think you've given that to me.
Sorry, we traded off, I guess. But no, I think, again, it has to be done in the right context. Yeah. That part I didn't mind. The other dirty talk I did not like because it didn't seem to fit his character. When, like, in other books, it's like the dirty talk fits the character.
See, that's what I'm talking about. I feel like Ben... The idea that I have of Ben is solid, but then when I read this book, and it feels so disjointed because I'm like, he's not an alpha male. He wouldn't dirty talk. It feels just so weird. It's like I'm being pulled in two different directions of like, okay, well then what is your character? Because I don't know if you would really do that.
Exactly. Glad we can relate on this. I will say though, I did really like this spicy scene because he was being very nice to her and giving her lots of compliments and really praising her, and I know because your really words of affirmation. I know that.
I know.
I just had to say it again. I really like that. On page 109, there's a brief thing at the bottom of the page that says, Ian shrugs. Miles took today's runs for me so I could get here sooner. I literally pooped my pants when Miles was mentioned because Miles is a main character in Ugly Love. And he's also a pilot like Ben's brother Ian. And so when he mentioned Miles, I was like, Like, I literally freaked out. I was so happy because I really love that book. And we even get a little bit of Tate later on in this book. And so I just love those little Easter eggs. And, like, they're not connected stories, but, like, it's just like a little Easter egg.
Yeah, it's
and
like,
I love that.
It's fun to see when, like, everyone is connected. Like, they don't contribute to the plot, but it's, like, fun to see them there.
Now we can get to the tattoo scene.
Okay.
I don't even know what to say about it. I just thought it could have been a really cool moment, but it was so overpowered by how weird Coho made it. Like, why did Fallon have to straddle him in the chair to calm him down? Why was she asking what his favorite mineral was?
Like, if you've gotten a tattoo, you know how fucking awkward that is. Like, it's just like you and the tattoo artist and then whoever you bring, but like straddling him while you get the tattoo, it's so weird. It is just so weird.
It wasn't even like cute in a way where like the whole world melts away when you have this moment. No, it was just weird.
Yes.
Like, if I ever saw someone doing that in real life, I'd be like, what the heck is wrong with you?
Exactly.
Honestly.
And then I sent you a TikTok of like those couples in line at Disney, and it's like a parody of like what the couples look like when they're waiting for rides at Disney, and it's freaking ridiculous. And like, that's all I can think about that scene now, of just them being absolutely ridiculous and awkward. Like, making it everyone else really awkward. Like,
yeah, I hated that. Moving on to like where this November ends was at the airport. She boards her plane. They had agreed to meet in Brooklyn the next year where Fallon lives, and he forgets to give Fallon her homework. So he literally buys a plane ticket, gets on the plane, gives her this letter with one assignment to call her dad, and which all makes sense later on.
Yeah.
And I know it was cheesy and over the top, and like, did he really get on a plane? You know what? At that point, I was living for it. I was like, okay, clearly airports are a staple for you guys, and you're making these big romantic moments. I was just like, okay, I could gripe on the fact that like it's over dramatic, but I'm just gonna vibe with it because it's cute, and I'm just gonna let it happen. So
yeah, I mean, I thought it was cute. Again, I was at a point where it's like, okay, well, I know you're being cheesy. I know that the airport represents something already in this book, so like I'll roll with it. Like, it's fine.
Exactly. So, but that is all I have for the 2nd November. Do you have anything to add?
Remind me, this is the one where Kyle punches Ben, right?
Yeah.
Okay. In the context of the entire book now, I still think that scene is ridiculous. Like, it did not have to end in a punch. You know what I mean? Like, that was way too over the top. Like, you could have just, like, I would have rather have Kyle be screaming his head off at Ben rather than punching him. Like, he was still a kid, and he was a kid when that happened, too. Like,
it did just feel over dramatic, and it was supposed to be this big explosive thing, and it did just feel a little unnecessary. Like, I think it could have packed the same punch, for lack of a better word, done a little differently.
I agree. I think it was just too much. Very nice. Okay, well, that was it that I have for the 2nd November. So we can dive into the 3rd.
Alrighty.
Oh, this is a really short synopsis that I wrote. Okay. So here's the synopsis. Fallon is in New York waiting for Ben to arrive, but Ben calls and says that his brother Kyle had passed away. Fallon rushes to LA and they share a night together before they get into an argument and depart on bad terms. This 3rd November came out of like left field because I was really excited for them to meet again. We got background that Fallon was doing fantastic in New York, and then Ben never shows, and she gets a call and he tells her the news that Kyle had passed, which I'm like, holy crap. Like, I didn't see that coming. Also, see, now in the context of the book, I don't understand why he died. Wait, was he in a car accident, right? Or something?
Yeah.
Okay, got it. Okay. But then what I really loved was that Fallon flew out to LA.
Yeah.
When they were having like a little get together at Ben's house, and she's there on the doorstep, and it was just like so cute.
I thought it was so cute because like we got Ben's inner dialogue of like, the only person I want here is Fallon.
Yeah.
Like she's the only one who's gonna make me feel better.
Yeah.
And then she shows up, and
It was very cute.
It was really cute.
Really cute.
I love that as complicated as their situation is, Ben did a really good job of like making it as normal for Fallon to be there as possible, and just like whenever she interacted with his family, just really made her a part of it and like welcomed her into the situation. And I thought that was really nice to see.
Yeah, I agree. We talked about this offline, but I'll bring it up again too, that it's crazy how they aren't in contact and how things can change so much within a year, and how like even when Ben called, he had to like call the restaurant for then the restaurant to like give the phone to her, or whatever it was, some weird way, that it's just like crazy about their like situation and how they set it up and the rules and stuff, because like, yeah, your brother passing is a huge life moment, like, and she doesn't even know that. And like, I think we got a little bit of inner dialogue of Fallon being like really guilty that she like didn't know and that she couldn't be there for him, but I'm like, girl, you don't even have his phone number, like it's it's fine,
it's not your fault.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You already know what I'm gonna say. On page 159, when they finally sleep together, so great, right? Amazing. And then it fades to black. Not only does it just fade to black, Ben says that it'll fade to black. And at that point, I was done. I was like, you could have just narrated and told me that it faded to black. But the fact that Ben said that it fades to black, I was so freaking over it. I was like, no.
It pulled me out of it, because like then it just totally changed the voice of the book. Like, I understand that like the whole thing is them narrating it a little bit, and I think this would have made sense if like your prediction that you had made when we were talking like had been true, where like what we were reading was Ben's book, but that's not the case. And so like I think that just felt so out of left field and really pulled me out of it, and felt like a different voice or a different perspective than anything else. And so it just didn't really make sense.
Yeah, I mean, and I understand too, because earlier in the book they were playing on the tropes. They're like, oh yeah, this is insta love and he's being an alpha male and blah blah blah. So in a sense, I understand that she was just playing on another trope, but it was so meta for me that it pulled me out of it. Like I couldn't even enjoy it. Like that was the thing. So the whole pinnacle part of this like 3rd November is that when Fallon learns that Ben has a literary agent, after they sleep together, after they basically promise that like after this 3rd November, like they're going to talk every day and things are going to be different, blah, blah. Fallon finds out that he has a literary agent, and he basically has like a whole entire life here in LA, and that she won't allow Ben to move to New York for her when he already has roots and success there, which, okay, makes sense, right? And he has a nephew on the way, right? And his brother just died as well.
Yeah, I think that's sorry, I don't mean to cut you off, but I think that was the biggest thing from my perspective. The nephew and his brother just dying and now being alone in this home with his grieving sister-in-law. Like, to me, that was the biggest reason that Fallon was like, I can't take you away from that.
Yes. And I think her learning about the literary agent was like the final nail in the coffin, because she was already feeling that throughout the entire get together as well. Basically, Ben confesses to Fallon that he loves her, but then Fallon says that they need to part ways and meet on the next November, and that they can't talk to each other, and all of this stuff that they had promised when they slept with each other, like literally a chapter earlier or whatever. I will say, I was pissed when Fallon did this. I was so angry, because I was like, it doesn't make any sense. He's clearly dedicated to you. But she's like, oh no, like, if you leave, you'll regret it, and blah, blah. We have our own lives to live, and blah, blah. And I'm like, girl, he's choosing you. Like, I don't know.
It did feel a bit unbelievable for me. Like, I really think that, like, realistically, there were so many other ways they could have handled it. Like, he didn't have to move to New York. She didn't have to move to LA. Like, no one had to change their location. They could have just talked every day, or tried at a smaller level, like maybe talking once a week about everything and then slowly building up to it as he got to spend more time. Like, it didn't need to be so dramatic and so cut and dry. Like, it just felt very unbelievable, especially after this huge conversation. Like, it just, I don't know.
Like, it felt like they were making a situation much more complex than it should have been. Like, there were easy workarounds for the situation that they were in.
Yeah.
So it just didn't feel, I just like didn't like it. It sat wrong with me, and I was like, Fallon, really? You're just ruining something good. Because he says that he loves you. Like, I don't, what else do you need? Like, what more do you need? I don't know. So.
Yeah. No, I get you.
Anyways, that is how the 3rd November ends. Do you have any other thoughts or comments?
I do not. No.
Okay.
All right. So the 4th November is pretty short. So my notes are pretty short for it.
Yeah.
So here is my summary.
Okay.
The 4th November is their shortest yet. Fallon goes into it feeling nervous but hopeful to share that she's moved back to LA to pursue teaching people to act, right?
Yep.
Okay. However, she quickly notices something is off between them because there's a weird amount of nervousness and a feeling that Ben and her don't know how to be around each other, which has never been present before. Ben shows up with his nephew Oliver, and Fallon soon figures out that Ben is now dating Oliver's mother, who happens to be his sister-in-law after his brother passed away. Ben hoped for her to be happy for him, but Fallon quickly crumbles and ends their meetings together. Okay, let me just read like my inner dialogue with this, okay?
Go for it.
This whole scene just made me nauseous, and I don't have a ton to say about it. I did like the way it unfolded with her slowly realizing he said we, and Ben's desperation for her, even though he was clearly battling with the right thing to do and the wrong thing to do. I like that it left us hanging in such a stressful way, but to be honest, I was way more mad at Ben than Fallon. Like, Fallon was trying to be selfless when she like broke it off, even though we can agree that it was very, like it could have been avoided in so many ways. But Ben just literally trauma bonded with his dead brother's wife. Like, nope, I'm good without that. That's literally what I wrote. Like,
amazing.
It just felt like, again, it felt like such a battle with Ben's character. Like, I just really, with how much he cared about Fallon, and I know he was heartbroken, and I know it was very a trauma bond thing, and when you go through a trauma like that and your emotions can very easily get confused, so I understand that. But as a reader, it was so frustrating to see because, again, it was just like very un-Ben like, so again, just like confusing his character for me a little bit.
Especially with like what not even has happened in the 3rd, but also like the 2nd and the 1st November that they meant with each other. Like, it feels so different from Ben, of like, really, like, it was that quick for you to move on, again factoring in the whole like trauma bond thing, but still I felt like Ben was more dedicated to Fallon. At least I thought he was, that he wouldn't have done something like this.
Exactly. The one moment I will say that brought it back down to earth for me a little bit was on page 187 when basically they were like hugging each other, and I forget who said it, if it was Ben or Fallon, but they were like, how did we let this happen? And I think to me that was very heartbreaking, and it brought it back down to earth a little bit because it was almost recognition that like, oh, Ben made a mistake, but Fallon did too. And somehow we both got in our own heads and we both made decisions that were kind of unlike ourselves. And now we're here, and it's not where we want to be, but that's where we are. And now we don't know how to get ourselves out of this situation that we've created. So that part made it a bit more realistic for me when like everything leading up to this felt kind of like out of character.
Which I think in a way is a really great commentary on just how life can change. And so a part of me really appreciated that in a sense where, yes, it was very weird. This 4th November was very weird, but I thought it did its job in showing how much can change in a single year when you're not in constant contact with someone. Like, it's crazy. It's crazy.
It really is. So that's literally all I have for this November. It was very short, so.
Very nice. Okay, let's dive into the 5th November.
Alrighty.
Okay, so here is my synopsis. Fallon doesn't meet with Ben this time around and instead goes to the club with Amber, Glenn, and Theodore, who is the guy that Fallon is seeing. At the club, Ben is there and convinces Fallon to come back and talk. They spend the night together, but then Fallon finds Ben's manuscript and she realizes that Ben started the fire that nearly killed her when she was 16. I really loved this 5th November. Like, I think
too.
it was one of my favorite Novembers out of all of them.
Me too.
I thought it was just so good from start to end. And I don't know. I really, really loved it.
I did too. And like what we were saying the last couple Novembers, this one felt the most true to their characters.
Yes.
And
it did.
It felt good because like it felt like Ben to come back to fight for what he wants and to like fight for her and show her that he cares and like all of these things.
Yeah.
But it also felt very Fallon to like battle with herself, like what's the right thing to do, what's the wrong thing to do, but also to let herself lean into that a little bit.
Yeah.
So it was like more reminiscent of the first 2 Novembers, I feel like, in the fact that like they were just very natural together again.
Yeah.
Even though obviously like there was a lot that like was fighting about it, but
yeah, no, I agree. Also, I just remembered that like Fallon moved back to LA eventually, either like between the 4th and 5th or something, or
it was the last one in the 4th November.
In the 4th November, so she's back in LA and just living her best life. The club scene with Theodore and his fucking whale pants was so funny. I loved that entire club sequence scene thing in this 5th November because it was so funny. It was so good. The tension was literally killing me. Their scene in the storage closet was so hot.
It was
hot. I've also realized that Colleen Hoover really likes letters in storage closets in her books. I can go without the letters, but I could always go with the storage closet scene.
Same.
So, right?
Don't have to tell me twice.
And so that one was really good. And I just I just loved it. It was the club scene, the club sequence, just so good.
It felt like what it should be at this point in the book. Like it didn't feel forced. Like Ben was allowed to show his protectiveness and like profess his love without making some weird out-of-pocket comment about being alpha and whatever. It just let it happen.
Literally.
And I like that.
And I think that's why it's my favorite November, because it just felt so natural.
Yeah.
What didn't feel natural was the way that Ben convinced Fallon to come over. But actually, it wasn't even Ben. It was like her friend Amber, where she was like, sorry. But she was like, Fallon, if you don't go over to Ben's, like he's the only friend that Glenn likes in the male species or whatever. And then Fallon is like, basically, well, if like that's the argument, then I'll just have to go over to Ben's house. And I'm like, really, girl, you couldn't have thought of another fucking reason to go over to his house. Really?
I know. And we talked about this even over FaceTime. But
I know we did.
I think at that point, Fallon had decided that she was going to go. And it was more just supposed to be like a kooky, funny moment. And it definitely just felt more awkward than kooky and fun. But like, I think that was like the intent.
Yeah. Anyways, the club sequence was still good.
Yeah, it was.
Then when they talk, right, they go back to Ben's place and they talk, and we finally find out that Ben and Jordan broke up literally the day of, on that 4th November, which is so amazing because, again, I just thought it was like a really freaking weird. They sleep together again, right?
I don't know. Maybe.
I don't remember. Maybe. Sure. Cool. This one didn't fade to black explicitly, so I don't remember. So maybe they did. But basically, they wake up. Fallon is hungry. But then she finds the manuscript that Ben has been writing about their love life and all that stuff. And she reads the scene with Kyle pushing Ben up against the wall. And this is where she finally learns the reason why Kyle punched Ben is because Ben started the fire that nearly killed her, and Kyle knew of it. And he recognized her. I will say I did gasp when I read this because I was like, the fuck? But then I was like, wait, what? Because I still needed more answers, like I still needed more info. And I was like, wait, how does that make sense? Like, why was he there that night? So, but a part of me will say that it was like a good moment of like surprise. So that was nice.
I agree.
So then Ben wakes up and Fallon confronts him, and he basically doesn't freaking deny it because it's true. And then Fallon leaves and Ben is throwing the manuscript at her, which was so dramatic, but I took it. I was like, okay, I'm here for it. She doesn't take it because she doesn't want to read it, and then the taxi drives her away. The ending was really dramatic, but that is how the 5th November ends. But overall, still, I really liked the 5th November. Like, it was so good.
It was a good one. And even though, like, the ending was dramatic, I also think it was fitting. Like, if I found out this guy I'd been doing all these things with was the one who burned my house down, I would run out of there.
Yeah.
Alrighty, the 6th November.
Yeah.
Also, I did find out there's like a last November too, but it's really short at the end that I forgot about until I reached the end of it. So I'll talk about it at the end. I just added a little note about it.
Okay, sounds good.
Yeah. Okay, so 6th November. This is a very long synopsis, okay?
Yep.
During this November, Fallon has a plan to take the day for herself and do her best to avoid anything Ben or accident related. Soon after, she finds Ben's manuscript on her front doorstep with a letter attached from Ben saying that he knows the best version of her is without him, but he wants her to read it in order to find closure. Although Fallon decides to at first avoid it, a visit from her mother who reads it for her quickly influences her to do the same. In Ben's manuscript, we find out that his mother killed herself due to having a choice between ending her own life with a gun or to ovarian cancer. She left specific instructions for her boys to manage everything. However, Ben did not manage well. He soon connected what he thought were the dots and believed his mother to have killed herself because of a relationship with Fallon's father. This ultimately led to Ben retaliating and accidentally burning their house down with Fallon inside. Kyle is the only one aware this happened and swears Ben to secrecy. Ben goes on a 2-year bender due to an intense amount of guilt and grief, at one time observing Fallon's father visiting his mother's grave. Soon after, in the manuscript, he happens to see Fallon and her father, and we get his point of view in that moment when he first saw her. At a certain point in the book, Ben leaves Fallon a note saying that he doesn't regret a thing because of the time they shared together, and that he helped her recognize her beauty, but prayed she might forgive him one day. So sorry if that was really long or convoluted, but like a lot happened in this November. And that's why I made my summary long, because I'm not going to go and make a comment about everything that happened. But this is finally where all these pieces connect. Like why Kyle punched Ben, why Ben started the fire, where their grief came from, like just everything came together. So here's my first comment. Her mother being there and reading her, reading the manuscript and then making her read it just felt way too convenient. Like her mother really wasn't a character in the story. Like she didn't have a ton of significance. So like then her being the one for this huge turning point in the book felt very unrealistic and like convenient for me. And like also, why was her mom reading that? Like to me, that's a huge invasion of privacy and I would have been pissed.
No, like a part of me is like, unfortunately, I see her mom as a device just to push Fallon in the right direction, which is totally fine because like that's what your main characters need. But unfortunately, that's all that she was. She was just a device. Like I didn't even see her as her mom because then Fallon proceeds to read the manuscript. And I also agree, it's a huge invasion of privacy and space. And I'm like, girl, you're not supposed to do that.
No, I would have been pissed.
Same.
So this part is in Ben's manuscript that Fallon is reading, and it's between Ben and his mom. She gave me a sidelong glance. That's what love is, Ben. Love is sacrifice. She tapped her finger against a tattoo on her left wrist, the tattoo that had been there since before I was born. I got this tattoo the day I felt that kind of love for your father, and I chose it because if I had to describe love that day, I would say it felt like two favorite things amplified and thrown together, like my favorite poetic line mixed into the lyrics of my favorite song. She looked at me again very seriously. You'll know, Ben, when you're willing to give up the things that mean the most to you just to see someone else happy. That's real love. I really like that. I thought it was really beautiful. I think it made the tattoo make sense and it like tied that up. It made me really sad because that was so beautiful and the meaning behind it was so beautiful that the tattoo scene was so freaking cringy. Like it, like
Yeah.
it just, because that,
No, you're right.
like reading this made you realize how significant that was, especially to Ben's character and why he believes in love the way he does, and probably why he does the things he does. So like then for that moment to feel so cheesy and like not as serious, like it just kind of like ruined the moment for me a little.
I agree, because not only was he getting that tattoo, but Fallon was there too. So it was like a huge thing for him, where then it was like played off almost. So it didn't feel as significant when it was a huge thing for Ben. Like I wish she would have leaned into it a little more.
Exactly, because it could have been a really, really interesting thing to touch on, I think.
Yeah.
So that was just unfortunate. I will say, and we don't have to get into it because I think this is a much larger discussion about this topic in general, but just like his mom committing suicide.
Yep.
Because she didn't want to die because of her cancer. And like her logic was like, why wouldn't I just end it at a place where I can feel comfortable, rather than like having you boys watch me just get sick and sick when the rest of my life is just gonna me getting more ill, and you're gonna have to deal with it, and the medical bills and this and this. So like I understood her reasoning, but it also, I feel like it's too much to fit in this podcast, because I feel like this alone could be like an hour-long conversation about, you know, because you always hear about physician-assisted suicide and like all of these different things that are kind of like taboo topics. And so it just made me really reflect on that, because like I really did understand her reasoning in that moment.
I did,
But it still just felt like a really, really gruesome way to do it. And so it just... I don't know.
That was my problem with it. I totally understood her reasoning. I empathized with her, and I was like, no, you're right. Like, you don't want your boys to be burdened with this. Also because they're really young and they live their lives, and I understand that you want them to remember you as you are right now, and not when you like are getting ill and you can't walk and blah blah blah. I understand all of that. The fact that she did it the way that she did, and then Ben found her, girl, you could have just taken some pills.
Yeah.
Like, I think that was horrid of her to do it, knowing that Ben was the only one in the house, because Ian and Kyle had already moved out.
It, like, you traumatized him for life.
Yes.
And there were really other ways you could have done that. Like, if that's going to be your choice, that's going to be your choice. But you could have made that way less. I mean, it's going to be traumatizing no matter what.
Yes.
But like, that scene is so gruesome.
It is very, very gruesome. And the fact that, too, like, she knew that Ben was in the house, and it, like, wasn't, like, Fallon's dad wasn't staying over or anything, so, like, he would find her first or whatever. Like, it was just so, that is what, like, sat with me really, really badly. Like, I did not like that aspect.
Yeah, it made me feel really icky.
Yep, same.
Yep. Okay, I'm just going to read my thought process, because I have just a big paragraph. Okay. I will say I like how when he did start the fire, it was impulsive and adrenaline based, because otherwise I think it would have been so out of character for him.
Yes.
Which his character has been so back and forth, like we've talked about.
Yeah.
And I will say, reading this part too, and even the part after with him processing with Kyle, like after he set the fire and Kyle telling him like to keep it to himself, it made me feel like Colleen Hoover set up his character to be way more of a bad boy when he's really not. Because when we first get introduced, like, Fallon perceives him as someone who's a little dirty and run down and like, but still really attractive and kind of like a bad boy or something. Like, again, another moment where I felt disjointed about his character.
Yeah.
I don't know. It just felt like I don't know. No, we keep repeating the same point. But.
No, you're right though. But also too, he was 16 when that happened. When he found where Fallon's dad lives, and he saw that. And I understand, right? As you're 16, you'll do some crazy shit. I do think it's weird that like Fallon had perceived him like that as a bad boy when he was like the sweetest ever. Like I don't know.
It's just a bit weird.
Yeah, yeah.
Here might be a little interesting point, and I'm curious if you will agree with me. And as much as I like Ben, this is actually a critique of him. So, okay. Okay. This is kind of a long snippet, so just bear with me, okay?
Okay.
So this is on page 299. If you take one thing from this manuscript, let it be this one simple paragraph. Absorb these words. I want them to stay in your soul because these words are the most important. I'm terrified that my lies have resulted in a loss of the confidence you gained during the times we were together. Because while I did withhold a huge truth from you, the one thing I couldn't have been more honest about was your beauty. And yes, you have scars, but anyone who sees your scars before they see you doesn't deserve you. I hope you remember that and believe that. A body is simply a package for the true gifts inside, and you are full of gifts. Selflessness, kindness, compassion, all things that matter. Youth and beauty fade. Human decency doesn't. And I'm gonna be honest, like, I get what this was getting at, but it just made me feel like Ben had like some sort of like savior complex for Fallon. Like,
Theoni, what did I say? What did I say?
I know. I'm agreeing. So like, it's just
Right?
like, Ben, you don't know what it's like to live with the scars. And like,
Yeah.
yes, I am in full support. And I think it's really great that you help show Fallon that she's beautiful and help reassure her and give her validation and like all these things. But like, especially when he said, I'm terrified my lies have resulted in a loss of confidence you gained during our times together. It was like, Ben, Fallon found the confidence in herself. Like, her confidence does not only have to lie in you and your words. Like, your words are not responsible for either building her up or building her down. Like, she is stronger than just you.
Yes, like,
and
you,
that pissed me off.
You are not tasked to fix her. She doesn't need fixing. Like, like, I don't understand. I feel like it's like he's trying to like ease his guilty conscience of like, oh my God, I'm sorry that I did this and it resulted in this for you. Like, I'm like, okay, yes, I understand that. But also Fallon is so fucking strong. Like,
Exactly.
don't underestimate her.
Yeah, exactly. So that it just rubbed me the wrong way, that paragraph in particular. And I wish it had been said in a completely different way, because like right at the end of the book, when I was really trying to be on Ben's side, like, and I still like Ben. Yeah. But honestly, the more I'm talking about it right now, the more that I like Ben less than when I started this episode. Like, honestly, like,
let's rewind an hour back.
No, I changed my mind. Like, honestly, like, his character was pretty disjointed, and like, it just,
again, it's like almost like Atlas would never fucking do that, but also like Atlas is like so precious to me.
Atlas is one of my favorite book boyfriends ever.
Exactly. Like he is the standard. It's like, no, he would never do this. But also when I compare and think about Ben, I'm like, oh wait, would Ben do that? Like, I don't have a grasp on him. Yeah. Like, it's hard.
Exactly. That's all I have to say for the 6th November. Do you have anything else to add about all of that?
Well, they reunited and made up.
Oh, yes. They did reunite. Oh, no, they didn't. That was in the last November, which I'm going to talk about.
Wait. Then what did I read at the end? Oh, I'm so dumb. I'm sorry. Yeah. No, you're right.
No, that's okay.
That's after his letter. Yeah,
yes.
Yeah. Okay,
so basically the 6th November ends with Fallon reading the letter that Ben wrote. Yeah. And then there's like the last November, which technically would be the 7th one, but like whatever. So this is my little paragraph about it. The last November ends with Fallon showing up just before the day is over to reconcile with Ben after coming to terms with everything that has happened and asking for his forgiveness too. I liked their reunion. Like, I'm glad they're together. But I didn't love that, like, Fallon was apologizing to him too. Like, I understand what she was getting at, but I think she could have gotten the same point across without apologizing to him. Because I don't think she had anything to apologize for. I think she simply could have said, like, I understand why you did what you did now. And so, like, I can forgive you for that. And, like, I want to move on from that because I understand. And I want to continue trying to understand, like, how this has impacted you so much. Yeah. Done. You didn't need to apologize because you didn't do anything wrong.
I know, and that's what bugged me. Not even the act of her being there on the last November. It was just that, like, girl, you did nothing wrong. Like, you were blindsided, thinking that this was a regular relationship with a stranger who didn't know you, where then you were misled to believe something different. And I was just like, I don't know. See, again, maybe it's just like Fallon has a really good heart. She doesn't deserve Ben. Ben doesn't deserve her. You know? Like, I don't know.
Yeah. So that's the end of the book.
Yeah.
I know I just said this like 2 minutes ago, but honestly, like talking about it now and really dissecting it like we did made me like it less than I thought I did.
Yeah.
Because like when you really think about it, it's really easy to just like let all these things go and just be like, oh, it's cute and yay, they ended up together. But like when you really think about it, this hit on some pretty serious topics of like grief and loss and suicide, and it really didn't feel like it focused on the grief enough, which is a very, very serious topic.
Yes.
And like the characters were disjointed and all the aspects are there that could have made this great. But I think just like in my own book that I'm writing, it's like you have to move the pieces around and make sure that like your character is consistent.
Yeah.
And it just wasn't.
And I told you too, when we were FaceTiming, I loved this premise. I was so excited because I'm like, that is so cool. I feel like you can do so much with it. Unfortunately, I just feel like the themes were too big, that Colleen Hoover didn't allow the themes to breathe as much as they needed to, because they're heavy topics. Like, that's like some really serious stuff. And I feel like she didn't like glaze over it, but also she didn't go in depth into it, where it's like we didn't really get the impact that was needed for the things that we were dealing with and the things that we were reading, you know?
Exactly.
So I think if it was just like a cute little like rom-com with no intense themes, I think I would have liked it a lot better.
I agree. It's like she tried to do the in-between thing where like she either needed to make it a bit more serious and like you said, let the themes breathe a little more and give them a little more space, or she needed to go a little bit more the other direction where it was more cute and just simple.
The club scene! Literally the club scene!
Yeah. That's that. Overall, like, even though we kind of ended shitting on it, I did like it.
Yeah.
But it could have been so much better.
Yeah, but the thing is, too, is like, it's good to have these conversations because then now you understand structure better and characters better while you write your own book. So it's like helpful in a way to like really dissect and really understand what the story of the structure is doing and like what's not working. So
no, it really is. I feel like it's really helping me learn a lot, which is really cool.
Yes, exactly. That is, we are lifelong students.
We are. Well, I hope now. Oh my God. I understand the concept of lifelong students, but could not be me. Like I want to learn new things, but the word student is a bit of a trigger for me.
Yeah.
Sometimes you're like, I still can't believe I did grad school. Like that really makes no sense to me.
Girl,
I hate school.
I can't believe you did grad school. Like,
oh my God.
Yeah.
Gross. So Selena, what is our topic next week?
So next week, Theoni and I will be doing another celebrity deep dive, but this time we will be doing it on the internet's daddy, Pedro Pascal. He has had a fantastic year, but oddly enough, like I don't know a lot about him.
I don't know a lot about him either. And I also haven't seen The Last of Us. I really haven't seen him a lot, but I definitely have caught on to the internet's love for him. Like, I think he's adorable. So
yeah, he's super talented. Like, I feel like he has his name attached to some of like the biggest franchises. And so
he does.
That's like crazy.
Yeah, it is crazy. And the fact that I don't know a lot about him. So I'm actually excited to see like what we learn.
Amazing.
Yes. All right. Well, thank you guys so much for listening, and we'll see you next week.
Bye.